Welcome to another Brand Matters podcast. And today I have with me Mickey. Say hi. And
Hello.
so we're going to talk about all things content, AI, agentic AI, and how that's kind of disrupting our content marketing world. I'll let Mickey introduce himself because he does it better than I do. And then we
Yeah.
get into the questions.
First, thank you, Padmini, for having me here. It's good to reconnect with you and see you again. I'm Mickey Aharony, so I'm a content strategist, and typically for B2B SaaS and AI platforms, my role kind of spans owning communications, PR, owning the corporate website. So that's everything from SEO, the blog, all the different landing pages, working with the web dev team and designers for how it looks visually.
Brilliant, brilliant. So
Yeah.
Mickey and I worked together at a startup, and I know how deep his expertise is in content and understanding the mechanics and the frameworks of content. And that's why I brought him into this podcast today, because there is an infusion of AI that we are seeing into our world, a big time, right? Because
Mhm.
the GPTs, the Claudes, as I said in my previous podcast. I want to understand, Nikki, from you in terms of what tools you're seeing out there and how has that changed the way you are doing content now?
Well, the tools, they're endless, but the big names, obviously, ChatGPT. My leaning, and I've been stuck like this for the last, I'd say, 3 years almost, 2.5, 3 years, is using a platform that you can switch between models. So you can switch between Claude or ChatGPT, or even add in Perplexity, have the build a workflow that works with any model and then has Perplexity do the advanced research. And usually there's platforms that you can switch or have that are multimodal.
I want to understand the methodology because I'll tell you how I use GPT or Perplexity. Um,
Mhm,
One is for research, and I know there is a lot of hallucinations. We'll talk about that in a bit.
mhm.
The way I use GPT is I create my content draft, which is almost like 90% there. And then I feed it to GPT to give me like a tie, a bow kind of a thing to my,
Mhm.
right? And the other thing is research, but that needs to be validated by us being human in the loop. How are you using GPT for writing, drafting, creating, stringing the content?
Yeah. First on the comment of research, like one, such a powerful tool. You see online people using AI generated search responses as a source of truth, even though you can see they use a famous one was like using rubber as an ingredient to make a hamburger or something like that. And it's the same for when you're doing product research or research for in my case, it's B2B SaaS or AI platforms where
Yeah.
we're actually creating content to educate people. And we need to do research for that. So having that understanding in mind, like that a lot of like Perplexity will give you the sources and it'll turn up a first draft of something that sounds amazing and gives you actual statistics. But you always have to remember to click the statistics and see the source link to see if it's accurate.
I talk to a lot of founders and a lot of marketing teams which are leveraging GPT to create websites and to create
Mhm.
documents. And some of it is hallucination. So that governance layer, that guardrail has to be
Yeah,
established. And that's where the human in the loop and the sync
correct.
analysis is really important to kind of
A
break.
hundred, 100%. And
Yeah.
it goes down to the knowledge base. So like on how you use it. So like if you're using it personally for content creation, the goal is to have a human vetted knowledge base. So whether that's like transcripts from customer calls or sales calls or documentation or internally created from product marketers and the marketing team where you have the actual personas and who the buyer is and the user of the product,
Yeah.
and that be the core knowledge base, including subject matter experts that are on your team or on the product team. Ask them questions, get the transcripts. If you're using that as a source, the chances of hallucination is drastically reduced.
Yeah. I
Um,
often use the analogy of like the peeling of the onion, right? At the surface, it feels like, yeah, this is great. The documents
yeah,
are done, and in seconds we've created this. But as you go in depth, right, and peel more and more and more, you see that there
Hmm.
are so many different fragments that are not right with it, and that gives
Correct.
that layer of supervision right around it.
Yeah. But to your comment of the process, like AI's completely changed my process, especially working fractionally. And I've been remote since 2018. And so, like, when you're at a company, you have Slack, you have a team. But when you're fractional, you're in your own echo chamber. And
Yeah.
so, like, using AI just to brainstorm can be like you have a person in the room with you. It may sound crazy, but it works this way where, like, you take your normal mental process, you're writing it down, and you're asking a question with a prompt or generating a prompt where it'll review what you think and you have it counter, and then you generate an outline from that conversation. Then that outline, these are the sources that you want to fill in the sections, and you can just have it fill those out. You review it, and you have something there where you can create a first draft. Now, the majority of this can be then once you have the format and the style and the thinking, you can create a workflow, which is chained. Like chained AI tasks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you can then insert whatever transcripts you have. If you're like, I do voice memos or I'll talk about a subject and I'll upload those transcripts and it already have the format set from that pre-work process I just discussed. And it'll generate a first draft. And then that's where I edit and work with a subject matter expert and go from there, whether it's a blog, landing page, email, what have you.
The other one is around SEO, as you rightly touched, right? And
Hmm.
optimization. Now it's more about GEO than SEO. And since you're in the thick of things with SEO, I wanted to get your take on that as well.
Yeah, I think geo agencies that are popping up, it's great for this like quick bubble, but it's all SEO because you still need the practices for geo. You need proper schema, proper markup on the page. Make sure you're targeting keywords, their descriptive terms, descriptive buttons, alt text for accessibility. It all remains the same, but the things are you can test is like instead of robot text, you can allow bots to crawl your website. Who knows if it works? You're just giving them permission, but they'll probably crawl it anyway. You can use LLMS.txt files to have a text markdown version of your website with all the information you want the LLMs to respond with. So they just crawl that, and they don't have to deal with all the images and page load issues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of tips and practices you can do. But the biggest thing and is like the positioning for SEO and searching. So you go on Google now, especially in the US, and now they rolled it out, I think, in the UK and Europe as well. I'm not sure rest of the world. But you have AI mode. Not before I get to AI mode, you have the AI generated results. So you have the AI answers, you have the sources up there, and then you have the sponsored ad, and then page one ranking is now almost a scroll away. So page one, no, is it as relevant as it once was? Because now you have AI ads, then page one ranking, still relevant, but you're now no longer technically position one. So your impressions are going up because you're appearing on that page, but are you actually visible? So then it's thinking, okay, how do I get in this? The way SEO is moving and the way I'm thinking about it is how do I get into the AI generated answer as a source?
Yeah.
So I work on testing the keywords for that. And then next is AI mode, because AI mode is separate using Gemini as your basically search function, similar as you would Perplexity and others. And I don't know, this is currently like, while yes, your company can be a result there, the issue, and I don't think they've changed this yet, but they're stripping the referral data from AI mode. So if you come up as a result in AI mode and they click your link via that, it will not be referred from Gemini like it previously was. In Google Analytics GA4, you could see which LLM is referring you. It
Okay.
comes in as direct traffic. And so now it's a bit of a black box, and we'll see how that evolves. But it's just different ways of thinking of like
Yeah.
how to be seen, how to target. Going back to the brand question, it's great for the top of level funnel, top of funnel content. You just do short, quick bursts of content. You don't need to do the what is this, what is that to drive traffic because Google, the AI will handle that. They'll answer what a CMS is, what a media platform is, what this is. Doesn't matter. You don't need to have that anymore. Focus on bottom of the funnel content, long form content that's actually solving a need or giving them an answer on your website, and then short bursts of content on social and other places where it's now social plus SEO plus whatever else. Let's say video, but there's a third one
Top
I
of the
can't.
funnel dynamics are
Yeah,
changing. So what I'm
exactly.
hearing from you is that the best practices of SEO will remain the same. Instead
Correct.
of robot.txt, you'll have an LLM.txt, which needs to be inserted into your websites and stuff for you to start showing up in the AI crawls,
Yeah.
right? So, but then your keywords and your your all your meta descriptions and stuff
Yeah.
still needs to be in place, and that still needs to happen, right?
Yeah. SEO is now, it used to be a discovery tool.
Yeah,
Now it's a confirmation tool, or it's where you go to confirm. So you learn about something on social. You're scrolling your feed on LinkedIn.
yeah.
Like you have the same TikTok and Facebook and Instagram scrolling habits on LinkedIn as well, which that's why you need to stand out. Like corporate content may not work. It's another topic, but like they'll find something that stands out and they're like, oh, I want to see what this is. And then you go to Google and you learn about this product or this tool and how it hits your pain point.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit here to talk about agentic because I'm getting
Yeah.
into that realm a lot with a lot of founders that I'm working with who are creating agentic systems for different types of things like customer service, e-commerce, and then
Hmm.
I started noodling with several people on how can we use it for marketing.
Yeah.
There are systems, and there are people who are actually building some event marketing tools which are agentic. There are designers who are thinking about running A to Z of design on agentic. I can see a few use cases for marketing as well. But what are you seeing out there on that front? And you talked about workflow, so that's why I want to go
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
to talking about this.
I do create workflows which are chained AI tasks. So like I do keyword this workflow is this task is doing keyword research. This one pulls the knowledge base from here and thinks up content topics. This one then generates outlines for the content topics. Then this one takes those outlines and then fills out the outline and the keywords and plugs it in. Then this chain will then write the three blogs based off of an existing template that I gave it, and then I have three or four blogs to review or edit or something like that.
When you say
So,
design, what is that? Is that
I'm visually thinking, here's a workflow, which is you have the prompt and you have the background and you're connected to a source of information. So like keyword research, it's doing a Google search or it's looking through SEMrush or it's connected to a tool. Then once it has that bit of information, the next the next chain task runs, which is called a workflow, and it'll take that information as a source and
got it,
then maybe have Perplexity start doing research on the
got it,
topics.
got it.
Then it takes that and then writes the blog. So I do that. But then you have like tools like Zapier, which is used to be just connect APIs. Now they're full on AI agents, which some can run autonomously in a box. So you
Yeah.
have a task connected to an agent. This agent in this box is running these set of tasks that you said, but autonomously. So like an email comes in, it'll look at the email, if it's a hotel, look and see if you have any vacancies, and then it'll say, oh, I have these vacancies. It'll respond to the email and then actually book you and have like a sassy email back. And then chain or N8N is like a more accessible version, um, which I want to test that one soon. It's all about what are the pain points that the prospects are thinking about, and you need to generate content that talks about how your product solves that pain. And so whether it's you go on like solution side of content or the pain point side of content, it's up to you. But that information needs to come from somewhere, comes from the prospects. And so there are tools out there that will take all the tools that are out there, like you have Clari or you have Gong for recording and gives you follow-up tasks and everything like that. You have salespeople are using Salesforce to log their information. You have HubSpot for marketing automation or even sales automation, things like that. But they don't actually fill any of these records properly. So you use agents via some of these tools to then do all that work for you and do the follow-up. It takes all this unstructured data, turns it into structured data, generates a report, sends you Slack messages and follow-ups to this customer, or this person is a pain point, or this person holds up the deal. Once that deal is through, you then have support. So any support requests on these deals, you know the type of questions that are coming in. And this all builds into a large knowledge base. And same with the customer support with a CSM. They know what's going on with the customer life cycle, carrying them through. And then for content marketing and for marketing, we now have a wealth of data at every stage of the prospect to customer to potential churn life cycle of what the reasons they churn to then generate supporting content for that. And so you can use that information to then generate blog ideas and everything we talked about, but just have it automatic so that way it's constantly updating those records. And that's what the agents are doing and running. And we have as a human, have to decide what's the priority. Where is there a dip in sales? Where are we looking for new revenue? Maybe we discovered a new revenue point because this is what a product solves. And so many people are asking it, but our focus is on, oh, we focus on solving this.
Yeah.
And yes, we have a good revenue stream, but everybody has this pain and we solve it. So we then productize it and create a new thing. So,
yeah, I like how you tied in the mid and the bottom funnel content that's required with all the information that is coming from customers via all those other tools. And then that gives the content marketer a clear view of, okay, here are the different pieces that will resonate. And then you will use agents and the human in the loop approach to actually go and create something that's meaningful. I love that.
Yeah.
Touch on the whole aspect of, and I ask this from all creative guys, right? The soul of the content, right? How do we preserve that soul of design, soul of content, soul of brand, soul of product in the world of AI? Because it's becoming very robotic today. When I go read a document or a blog or anything, and I know that it's been created by I'm like, no, this is not you, brand. Where are you, right? So how do you think that can happen? And because it's moving so fast.
It's a question, but what isn't dead is your individual brand. So basically, now your sales team, your internal marketer, anybody in your employee can basically become an influencer and I use the term influencer lightly, but become like a subject matter expert on what your product offering is and build their own corporate brand around that, which then carries the company that they're at.
Yeah.
And so using AI to find that type of authenticity to help them generate the content, think about use their own tone of voice that may not be the company's tone of voice, as long as it's not like obscene or goes against the mission or the values of the company. You need to be aligned with that. But you can use AI to develop an individual's brand tone, essentially your own personal brand. And that's how you can kind of stick out with authentic.
Closing note I'll have on this is, you brought up authenticity, which is really important. I think in this world where everything is going to be robotic, I think authenticity of the brand has to be maintained. And I would say also the quality versus quantity. Don't look for creating a lot of content just to give GPT. But you create a little bit, but with GPT and other tools, but have some meaning to it, right? They will drive conversion automatically if there is meaning to it. As you said, the bottom funnel and mid funnel become really important now. So
I'll say learn AI, but don't depend on it. So use it to build your voice, use it for strategic thinking, things like that. It gets to the point where, like, let's say, I think ChatGPT was down a few weeks ago, and then all of a sudden you had like I think I forgot which publication wrote this, but there was an uptick of people who all around the country or all around the world that just took a day off because they're getting to a point where they can't function without AI. I call it like you asked me a question offline, and so I wrote to embracing it is like a superpower. Resisting it, you risk falling behind, and depending on it causes brain rot. So it's like
I love it, Mickey. Thanks for joining me on this, and it was
thank you so much
chatting with you. We'll see you guys in the next podcast. Ciao.